Hello. 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 Welcome to Mornings with Mary Margaret, where you can hear my dogs fighting in the background. Isn't that fun? I have the same tea that I had yesterday. Same exact thing because I wanted to re-steep it because I didn't want to waste it. But hopefully I didn't steep it for as long this time. So hopefully it won't taste like, what did it even taste like? It was just goblin spit. That would be my guess. I don't know if I've ever had goblin spit, but can't imagine it tastes very good. So welcome to Wondering Wednesday, and hello, my one viewer who always shows up around this time. You're a good friend and confidant, and you're a pal and a confidant. Thank you for being a friend. Cheers. Ooh, it is hot tea. So today is Wondering Wednesday, and in what used to be the what was originally intended to be the form of this day. This is my Fig Newman. It's not a Fig Newton because it's a Newman's own brand. So, Fig Newton. Yeah. My original plan for Wondering Wednesday was that I would ask the audience what they were wondering. I would Google it, just Google a lot of it, and just Google the little guts right out of it. So I figure I'll sit here until the one person who's watching gives me a topic to Google. Last time we did this, it was fog. That was actually quite an interesting Google. We discovered that what? Oh, we discovered that Sequoia get 30 to 40% of their water from fog. It comes off the Atlantic or the Pacific Ocean. And we also discovered after the fact that my husband already knew that because he's a nerd. My dog is barking. Can't do a lot about that right now. Y'all are not very talkative. And by y'all, I do mean the one person who's watching. Dog is in here now. I'm just asking friends what I should be wondering about. I almost drank the tea leaves. Shouldn't do that. Don't. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. Oh no. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Somebody suggested, a friend of mine suggested Wonder Woman. So we're gonna Google Wonder Woman. The film was in 2017. It was a good film. I would watch again. That is not what I am wondering about, whether I would watch that movie again, because I would. I would, in fact, watch that movie again. um, good. I'm glad the dogs are getting involved. Do you know? Just go. They're like chasing each other around. It's great. So Wonder Woman first appearance was in All Star Comics in 1941. All Star Comics number 8. U.S. Army intelligence pilot Steve Trevor flies his fighter across the Atlantic Ocean in search of a Nazi spy. His plane runs out of fuel and he crash lands on Paradise Island. So there we go. 2 Amazons, Diana and Mala, recover him and bring him to their hospital, though they and the other Amazons show surprise at a man on Paradise Island. Diana spends several days nursing his wounds and slowly begins to fall in love with him. Cool. Her mother, Queen Hippolyta, reminds the Amazon that men are forbidden to set foot on Paradise Island, much less remain there. She declares that as soon as Trevor is fit for travel, he is to be returned to the United States. She then, in 2 pages that were mostly text, tells Diana that in ancient Greece, they were the foremost nation, but Hercules attacked them and was defeated due to Hippolyta's magical girdle. Good. So Hercules resorted to trickery and stole the girdle. His men then enslaved and chained the Amazons. Hippolyta later appealed to Aphrodite, and was freed, and her girdle returned to her. Good. The Amazons took the enemy fleet and traveled to a new island. However, they would always wear bracelets to remind them not to succumb to men. Hippolyta shows the magic sphere, which was given to her by Athena after they defeated the army of Hercules, and with which she could see the past, present, and even predict the future, which has made the Amazons an advanced race. Okay, so after the goddesses of the Amazons, Aphrodite and Athena, appear before her, Hippolyta decrees that an Amazon agent should be sent to the United States to aid the Americans in their fight against the Nazis. She holds a great tournament to determine which of her warriors should act as their goodwill ambassador. Diana wants to participate in the tournament, but Hippolyta forbids it. Diana disguises herself, of course, with a simple mask, of course, and enters the tournament anyway. She masters every competition and becomes one of the 2 finalists to compete in the bullets and bracelets competition. Diana defeats her opponent Mala because she deflects all 5 bullets, while Mala is unable to deflect the 5th bullet and is wounded in the arm. Some of that weird stuff. Diana then reveals her true identity to the crowd. Hippolyta agrees to allow Diana to travel to the United States. She provides her with a patriotic costume and bestows upon her the name of Wonder Woman. Cool. So that is the first appearance of Wonder Woman in the comics. In her homeland, the island nation of Themyscira. Her official title is Princess Diana of Themyscira. I could pronounce it. I probably am pronouncing that way wrong. Her first feature in Sensation Comics #1. Oh, the Wonder Woman title has been published by DC Comics almost continuously, except for a brief hiatus in 1986. Huh. When blending into the society outside of her homeland, she sometimes adopts her civilian identity, Diana Prince. Wonder Woman was created by the American psychologist and writer William Moulton Marston, pen name Charles Moulton, and artist Harry G. Peter, who is uncredited, clearly, usually. Marston's wife Elizabeth and their life partner Olive Byrne are credited as being the inspiration for the character's appearance. Marston's comics featured his ideas on disc theory. All right, you gotta know what that is. It's a behavior assessment tool based on the disc theory of psychologist William Moulton Marston, which centers on the 4 different personality traits that are currently dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. This theory was then developed into a behavioral assessment tool by industrial psychologist Walter Vernon Clark. William Moulton Marston wrote a book called Emotions of Normal People, which is just, I love the title. It's very good. And then Walter V. Clark co-wrote looks like a paper entitled The Activity Vector Analysis as a Selector of Life Insurance Salesmen. I don't know what that means. I really just wanted to see if there was I wanted to see the behavioral assessment tool. Disc characteristics of emotions and behavior of normal people. At the time, normal had the meaning of typical rather than the antonym for abnormal. Whatever. Marston, after conducting research on human emotions, published his findings in the 1928 book Emotions of Normal People, in which he explained that people illustrate their emotions using 4 behavior types: dominance, inducement. Wait, what? Inducement, like influence, submission, and compliance. Oh, interesting. So they changed since then. He argued that these behavioral types came from people's sense of self and their interaction with their environment. He based the 4 types on 2 underlying dimensions that influence people's emotional behavior. The first dimension is whether a person views his environment as favorable or unfavorable. The second dimension, whether the person perceives himself as having control or lack of control over his environment. Well, that seems like pretty, you can triangulate someone's sort of relationship to their environment in those ways. Cool. So I wish that there was some information on Wikipedia about what disc had to do with Wonder Woman, because it seems like they're drawing some sort of line between them. The character drew a great deal of inspiration from early feminists, and especially from birth control pioneer Margaret Sanger, in particular her piece, Woman and New Race. No, I just want to see women in a new race. Woman in a new race. What? Oh boy. Okay. Just was very zoomed in. Okay. So I'm finding this at Harvard Library. The modern woman movement, like the modern labor movement, may be said to have begun in the 18th century. The labor movement arose out of the Industrial Revolution with its resultant tendency to overpopulation, to unrestricted competition, to social misery and disorder. The woman movement appeared first. The woman movement appeared as an at first neglected byproduct of the French Revolution with its impulses of general human expansion, of freedom and equality. Since then, as we know, these two movements have each had a great and vigorous career, which is still far from completed. On the whole, they have moved independently along separate lines and have at times seemed almost hostile to each other. That has ceased to be the case. Of recent years, and it has been seen not only that these two movements, it takes a long time to load a second page, are not hostile, but that they may work together harmoniously for similar ends. That's nice. One final step remained to be taken. It had to be realized not only that the labor movement could give the secret of success to the woman movement by its method and organization, but that, on the other hand, that's singular, it's interesting, held the secret without which labor is impotent to reach its ends. Woman, by virtue of motherhood, is the regulator of the birth rate, the sacred disposer of human production. It is in the deliberate restraint and measurement of human production that the fundamental problems of the family, the nation, the whole brotherhood of mankind find their solution. The health and longevity of the individual, the economic welfare of the workers, the general level of culture of the community, the possibility of abolishing from the world the desolating scourge of war, all these, like great human needs, depend primarily and fundamentally on the wise limitation of the human output. It does not certainly make them inevitable, but it renders them possible of accomplishment. Without it, they have been clearly and repeatedly proved to be impossible. Wonder Woman's origin story relates that she was sculpted from clay by her mother, Queen Hippolyta, and was given a life to live as an Amazon, along with superhuman powers as gifts by the Greek gods. In recent years, DC changed her background with a retcon that she was the daughter of Zeus and Hippolyta. Cool. Jointly raised by her mother and her aunts Antipathy Antiope and Menalipy. The character has changed in depiction over the decades, including briefly losing her powers entirely in the late 1960s. By the 1980s, artist George Perez gave her an athletic look and emphasized her Amazonian heritage. What does that mean? Gave her an athletic look and emphasized her... Ooh. Different athletic look. So I went to the citation. that Wikipedia cited for the athletic look and emphasizing Amazonian heritage. There were 2 citations, so let me go to the other one. So I go to the things that are cited, and I don't know who George Perez is because he's not in the citations that are on these things that are cited. But the things that are cited are articles about Wonder Woman. One on DCComics.com, one on Newsarama.com. And they do not include George Perez, who is cited as the person who made these changes. So I am confused. So I'm just going to Google George Perez Wonder Woman. Look at that, autocomplete. Well, I mean, she has very big biceps. She's also, she's not always barefoot. It could be that he made her look more South American, generally speaking. I say that completely ignorant of basically what I mean by that. And we'll go to this DC Universe, The Legacy of George Perez's Wonder Woman. Ask most fans about what of Wonder Woman, which is the Amazon princess's greatest comic book era, and most will give you one of 2 answers. The original, groundbreaking first volume of Wonder Woman, run from 1941 to 47. And the reinvention of the character by George Perez, who wrote and drew Wonder Woman Volume 2. Good. From 1986 to 1991. Now all of the groundbreaking George Perez Wonder Woman run is available to read on DC Universe, which is the website that I'm currently on. Do you know? Can you just chew on it instead of dropping it everywhere? Okay. So let's see. Coming off the heels of the universe-shaking 1985 limited series Crisis on Infinite Earths, the entire DC universe got a major overhaul. I don't know if you can hear me because my tongue is chewing on her bones, and it is resonating through the entire floor. She's about to drop it again. Batman and Superman experienced relaunches with a back-to-basics approach, though neither were reinvented from the ground up, quite like Wonder Woman. So Perez initially with writers Greg Potter and Len Wein, wasn't afraid to jettison the parts of Wonder Woman lore that had been around for decades and try something fresh. In this new iteration of the Amazing Amazon, Diana no longer had the secret identity of military officer Diana Prince, choosing to abandon the notion of a secret identity altogether. For a long-time love interest, Steve Trevor became more of a much older brother figure, and her power set was dialed way up. She could now go toe-to-toe with Superman in a fight. And just like the Man of Steel, she could also fly. Farewell, invisible plane. It is sort of funny to think about the invisible plane. With some portions of the original Marston vision gone, other original elements were amplified by Perez. The Greek mythology of the Marston era was a central aspect of the Perez run. From the very first storyline, Gods and Mortals, Wonder Woman number 1 through 7, in which Diana arrives in Patriarch's world and must fight the mad god Ares, to its follow-up Challenge of the Gods, in which Zeus tasks Diana with venturing through Doom's doorway beneath her island home. In that story, which ran in issues 10 through 13, Perez's intricate artwork and attention to Greco-Roman art and history made for a mythological tale for the ages. So by focusing more on her Amazonian heritage, he's talking more about the Greek gods and stuff. Another aspect of Wonder Woman's history, now amplified by Perez, was its feminist nature. Diana was no longer a crime fighter in the traditional sense, but a teacher and an ambassador from her homeland, Themyscira, to the outside world. While social politics were often the subtext of Marston comics in the 40s, they were now literal text, as Diana became her nation's representative in the outside world. She gave lectures to multitudes and became a media personality, spreading her belief in the equality of all peoples and all races, religions, sexual orientations, and genders. Diana's mother, Queen Hippolyta, and her fellow Amazons were given much more depth and characterization than ever before. And finally, many of the Amazons who populated the backgrounds of many Wonder Woman story were given names and personalities. Two important additions to Diana's life were Greek mythology professor Julia Kapatelis and her teenage daughter Vanessa, who became Diana's surrogate family in our world and her window into America. Best of all, Wonder Woman was an action-adventure series par excellence under Perez's watch, and he spared no time in giving Diana's Rogues Gallery a fresh coat of paint. The Cheetah, traditionally a villain in the Catwoman mode, became archaeologist Barbara Minerva, who used ancient magics with a K to transform into a feral cat-human hybrid. Her reintroduction into the Wonder World mythos in Wonder Woman 8 and 9 made her the villain she was always meant to be. And the ancient witch Circe became another iconic adversary for Diana, who reemerged as a major threat in issues 17 to 19. Other old-school villains like the Silver Swan and Dr. Psycho were given modern upgrades with more motivation and backstory than they'd ever had before. All of this new emphasis on Greek mythology, social politics, and a newly reinvigorated group of villains culminated in Perez's final big storyline for his run on Wonder Woman in the 1991 event War of the Gods, which began and ended in the pages of Wonder Woman. While this story pulled in heroes from all over the DC universe, it made Diana its central figure. With this storyline and with 62 issues and 5 years under his belt, Perez more or less left Wonder Woman behind, but he went out on a high note in Wonder Woman's most celebrated run in the modern age. So after he left, after he retired and someone else came and took over Wonder Woman, the things he got rid of came back. So she goes back to having the invisible jet. She goes back to having secret identity and a love interest in Steve Trevor. So he renamed the island from the Paradise Island to Themyscira. And the Amazons became more of a warrior culture than just than the girdle thing. So that's interesting to me. cool. And all of George Perez's Wonder Woman is available to read online, DCUniverse.com website. So maybe do that as she's persistent. She is nothing if not persistent. So maybe if you are interested in Wonder Woman, maybe you and I should start with George Perez. Available online, DCUniverse.com. And this is not paid content. Anyway, I've been talking for 30 minutes now. A lot of it has just been me reading Wikipedia, so I do hope that you enjoy that sort of context. Tomorrow is Thankful Thursday, and Thankful Thursday tends to get a lot of people watching, and I don't know why. So I need I need to know what y'all want to talk about. And it didn't work super great today for me to just ask as I was making my video. It worked out, but I would like more input. Come on. What else are you doing? So yeah, I'm going to try to come up with an interesting topic for Thankful Thursday tomorrow. But if you can think of anything that you would like me to talk about generally, things that I'm thankful for in certain contexts or certain types of things that I'm thankful for, let me know in the comments or just in any other way that you know how to get in contact with me, because there are a few these days. Have a good Wednesday. Stay safe. Don't do drugs. Yep. Make good choices.